lives.
For over half its known life, the Sphinx has been buried up to its neck in sand. Despite this protection from the elements, the body of the Sphinx is deeply eroded. Although it's been dug out and repaired many times, nothing has ever been found to tell us who built the Sphinx or when. This is John Anthony West, author and independent Egyptologist. While researching the work of French mathematician Schwaller de Lubitsch, he made a chance discovery that would change his life. Schwaller made the simple observation that the Sphinx had been eroded by water, not by wind and sand, as traditionally believed. These are two very different types of erosion. Water in the Sahara Desert. There's been no significant rainfall in the Sahara for 9,000 to 10,000 years. West was the first person to grasp the implications of this. If the Sphinx was eroded by water, it had to be at least 9,000 years old. Geologists realized that if the Sphinx was more than 9,000 years old, the entire history of ancient man would have to be rewritten. Virtually all of the temples and tombs on the Giza Plateau have been weathered by wind and sand. So why would the Sphinx be the only monument weathered by water? When you think of water in Egypt, you automatically think of the Nile. Could the legendary Nile floods have eroded the Sphinx?
But it just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. What you have here are rocks where the most rocks, which are a bit softer than the rocks at the very top, jet out further. If it were Nile floods coming in, you would expect these soft rocks to be eroded way back as the waters rose up. You would expect this to be eroded way back, and it should undercut the uppermost rocks. That, in fact, is not what we see. If we look up there, we see a little undercutting where you have a very soft layer, but the next layer above, which is harder than this layer, is receded way back. So no, it's not Nile floods that are causing this erosion. It's clearly rain precipitation causing these erosional features.
Schock was certain that the walls of the Sphinx enclosure were eroded by water cascading down off the Giza Plateau. Water whose only possible source was rain. This was the key element in Schock's argument. But when did it rain? Dr. John Kutzbach is a professor of paleoclimatology at the University of Wisconsin. Paleoclimatology is the study of ancient weather patterns.
The first way that we try to determine the climate of the past is by looking at observations. There are plenty of observations from North Africa that show that that region was covered with lakes in the past. Right now it's a desert, but 10,000 years ago there were lakes in the Sahara.
When this photograph was taken in 1860, the lion's body was not visible. If the head of the Sphinx hadn't protruded above the sand, it might not have been discovered to this day.